The cities died long ago, but the hunt never stopped. They say the wind over the Badlands still carries screams, human, alien, and something in between. Out here, survival isn't life. It's sport. 2 centuries after the collapse, the planet is dust, oceans gone, skies poisoned. What's left of humanity hides in the skeletal remains of old cities, trading in relics and whispers. Locals speak of shapes in the storm. Invisible hunters that leave no tracks, only bodies hung from rusted towers. They call them ghosts of heat. But the few who've seen them up close, the ones who've lived long enough to tell the tale, know the old name. Predator. They never left. They just waited for the world to become a hunting ground again. Before the collapse, archives show dozens of classified encounters. South America, Afghanistan, Siberia. Always the same pattern. Disappearances, thermal anomalies, mutilated soldiers. When civilization fell, the predators didn't invade. They observed. They watched our wars, our starvation, our extinction. And when the planet was silent enough, they returned survivors, found alien metal buried beneath scorched craters. Biomasks melted by nuclear heat, cloaking tech still pulsing faint light. From the desert came a new breed of scavenger. The trackers, humans obsessed with hunting what once hunted us. They worshipped the predators like gods. And sometimes, the gods answered. In the Badlands, storms aren't just weather, they're memory. Electromagnetic winds carry echoes of sound, fragments of screams recorded in static. The hunters move with those storms, using the noise to mask their approach. Aerial drones, long abandoned by the old world, still orbit above, picking up brief flashes of heat before being sliced from the sky. Each flare marks a kill. The pattern is precise, ritualistic. Every full moon, 3 new vanishings. The trackers believe it's not random, that the predators are cleansing the land, wiping out anything unworthy of the hunt. But hidden within those storms are older signals. Human distress calls from before the collapse. Someone, or something, is still fighting back. Sector 9 used to be a military testing zone. Now it's a graveyard of machines. Burned out tanks half buried in sand, drone wings jutting from dunes like broken bones. The survivors who dare to enter carry heat-suppressing mud, metal fragments, and prayer beads. They call it walking unseen. At night, lights appear over the horizon. Not stars, but scanners sweeping the ruins. One survivor's recording, recovered from a shattered helmet, captured 6 seconds of motion before the feed died. A silhouette, 9 feet tall, armored in bone and steel, standing perfectly still. When the static cleared, a voice whispered through the radio, "They're learning our traps." And then, silence. A century of sandstorms buried everything humanity once built. But the Badlands keep their secrets shallow. When a scavenger team unearthed a chamber of fossilized bones, both human and alien, they thought they'd found history. They found a message. Each skull was marked with a symbol, scorched into bone, the same emblem seen on ancient predator armor. It wasn't random, it was language, a warning, or a challenge. Deeper in the dunes, researchers uncovered entire skeletons of creatures humanity never recorded. Hybrids. Spliced. It seems the predators didn't just hunt us. They studied us. The Badlands weren't graves. They were laboratories. The Badlands never sleep. But one night, the heat vanished. Sensors flatlined. Fires went cold. Even the air froze. Survivors called it the heatless night. They said the stars flickered red, and silhouettes walked across the dunes, scanning for warmth. Those caught moving glowed in the darkness, like prey under infrared light. The hunters didn't use cloaks that night. They didn't need to. When dawn returned, entire camps were gone, only scorch marks left behind. Among the ashes, one word was carved into a half-melted wall: trial. No one knows if it was written by a human, or by one of them. In the ruins of Phoenix Outpost, survivors worship something they call the Metal Prophet. It's a severed predator mask fused to a human skull, buried in glass and sand. Every full moon, the artifact emits a low-frequency hum, that draws in wildlife and people alike, hypnotic, irresistible. The trackers claim the prophet speaks to those who listen long enough. They believe it carries the consciousness of a fallen hunter, trapped between species, half machine, half soul. One recording captured the hum for 6 minutes before the mic melted. When slowed down, analysts discovered words beneath the vibration. The game continues. Even in death, the hunt endures. Daylight over the Badlands is supposed to be merciless. Yet one morning, the sun rose crimson. Dust clouds shimmered with particles of iron, like blood atomized into the wind. From orbit, faint bursts of plasma were detected. Orbital weaponry, centuries old, reactivated. Something was calling ships back to Earth. Witnesses described lights breaking through the clouds, shaped like comets, crashing into the wastelands. From those craters came smoke, then movement. A new kind of hunter. Heavier armor, darker skin, and symbols etched with acid scars. The elders had returned, and the Badlands were no longer ours. Among the fractured tribes of survivors, one man dared to turn the hunt around. They called him the Warlord, a former tactician who studied the patterns of every recorded predator encounter. Using heat bait lures and old infrared mines, he built traps that mimicked prey. The plan worked. Once, a predator fell into the snare, wounded but alive. The Warlord's team caged it, and for 6 minutes, they recorded its heartbeat. Then, the signal vanished. When scouts returned, the cage was gone, the sand burned to glass. The Warlord's insignia, a red skull drawn in his own blood, was found miles away, nailed to a metal post. The message beneath it read, "You tried to hunt the storm. West of the old Colorado River lies the Ash Plains, a region where nothing grows, not even memory. The soil there hums with residual radiation, and every few nights, lights move beneath the ground like serpents. Locals believe that's where the predators bury their dead. Heat scans show massive caverns, organized with precision, like hives of metal and bone. Within one excavation, explorers found human armor fused with alien technology, as if the two species had become one. The bones weren't trophies, they were parts of machines. The Badlands weren't just hunting grounds, they were factories. And something down there was still building. On day 90 after the blood sky, the static changed. Every functioning radio, from old world relics to handmade transceivers, began transmitting the same pattern. 3 pulses, a pause, and then 4 more. Those who heard it described the sound as mechanical breathing. Analysts decoded the rhythm and matched it to an ancient predator distress call, the same used during failed hunts. But this wasn't a distress beacon. It was an invitation. The Badlands were no longer isolated. They were broadcasting coordinates into space. Humanity realized the impossible. Earth wasn't a battlefield. It was a summoning ground. 2 weeks after the signal, the skies tore open again. Ships, hundreds of them, descended silently through the clouds, shaped like daggers of molten steel. The predators weren't hunting anymore. They were competing. Clan against clan. Technology against tradition. Earth became an arena, their proving ground, their myth reborn in the ashes of humanity. Survivors who hid underground recorded the sounds, roars, plasma fire, alien cries echoing through ruined cities. The desert glowed red for days. When it ended, the sand was glass again, and silence returned. The hunt was over, for now, but the scent of victory remained. There's one place even the predators avoid. A dead metropolis buried under 30 feet of glass. Locals call it the Ghost City. At night, lights flicker through the ruins, as if the old world still breathes there. Heat scanners reveal human silhouettes moving between buildings, but none are ever found. Some believe they're echoes. Thermal imprints left by those vaporized during the first hunts. Others say the city itself has become conscious, absorbing energy from the predators' weapons. When explorers sent drones inside, they captured a reflection. A predator mask fused into the side of a skyscraper, watching endlessly. The footage cut off mid-frame, with one final whisper across the static. They built this place to remember. Among the survivors, one name spreads like wildfire. Mira, the girl who bleeds silver. Found wandering the dunes after the Iron Hunt, she carries alien markings beneath her skin that glow under moonlight. The trackers believe she's the next step, a bridge between man and hunter. DNA scans confirm what no one wants to believe. She isn't entirely human. Embedded deep in her spine is a predator neural link, self-sustaining organic tech. Mira speaks little, but when she dreams, she repeats one word over and over. Reunion. Some say she's their creation. Others think she's their weapon. Either way, she's proof the hunt was never just about survival. It was about evolution. Months after Mira's discovery, a signal burst from the old orbital network. Stronger than anything recorded since the collapse. It carried no voice, no coordinates, just a single image. A predator ship hovering above Earth, surrounded by hundreds more, not attacking but circling. They were watching, waiting. The message embedded in the signal was brief, but clear in every human language. The next game begins. Then, silence. Satellites fell from orbit, power grids failed again, and across the Badlands, the storms returned, louder than ever before. Humanity looked up and realized the sky itself had become the hunting ground. The last known survivor broadcast came from a bunker beneath what used to be Nevada. The speaker's voice was calm, too calm. "If you're hearing this," he said, "they're not just hunting anymore, they're teaching." Behind him, you can hear movement, metallic, heavy. He speaks again. "I've seen the young ones, smaller, faster. They're learning from us. They're adapting our tactics." A scream interrupts the feed, followed by the roar of plasma fire, then static. The log ends with a single phrase, written across the screen before power cuts. The Badlands were never ours. The storms have quieted now. The dunes rest beneath a sky that burns dull red. But sometimes when the wind hits the old ruins just right, you can still hear it. The hum of their cloaks, the shimmer of their gaze. The predators came not to destroy us, but to perfect us. And in the wastelands they left behind, humanity became something else. Stronger, meaner, hungrier. Maybe that was their plan all along. Maybe we were the final hunt. The Badlands remember every scream, every drop of blood. And if you're still out there listening, this story isn't over. Subscribe, stay alive, and return for the next hunt. The game continues.